Man, I love the look of this car. Welcome back to the channel. I've had the Mark 8 GTI since November of 2022. When I first got it, it had 9 miles on it, and now it has around 16,000 miles. Do I think it's a good investment? Is this as a daily driver worth it? Today I answer these questions for you and tell you all about the wow and boo factors of living with this car. I'm your host Kareem, and you're watching Garage Now. So let's start with design. Personally, I love the front end of the Mark 8. The headlights, the fog lights, the hood design, and all these subtle lines really do complement each other. Honestly, I think it's awesome, and my favorite part happens to be the fog lights, as they are very discreet when they're off, but once they're on, they have this distinctive look to them. And you can't really mistake this car for any other car on the road if it's behind you. I just wish the fog lights would turn on automatically at night when the low beams kick in, but no, that's not a feature. And if you want the fog lights on, you have to turn them on, which is fine. And yes, I'm one of the psychopaths that run their fog lights during the day, because why not? I mean, look at them. They're so cool, except for the fact that they seem like trouble if you're trying to change the light bulbs yourself. And on the other hand of the front end design, yes, I absolutely love it, but I don't think it's timeless by any means. I believe by the time they introduce the Mark 9 or Mark 10, the design of the Mark 8 won't really grow on me, especially with that light bar in the center of the front of the car. I honestly think it's alright, and the reason I think that it's because it's disrupted by the center VW logo. It's cool and all, but at night you just see a straight line that's disrupted and you don't really see the logo, which is fine. So yeah, my overall thoughts on the front design, I really like it. I think it's a little trendy with the light bar and all that. And when you start to see more and more of them on the road, it's not gonna be as special, especially if the Mark 9s and Mark 10s are out. Now for the rear design, I think it's very minimalistic, simple, and yet sexy. I really like how the logo and the GTI text is centered, and since this is my first GTI, I love the fact that the logo doubles as the reverse camera and trunk handle. But there is a very annoying issue with the logo that I'll mention later in the video, so make sure to stick around. And other than the front and rear design, my GTI came with these 18-inch wheels that I think are decent. They're not the best looking wheels in the world, but also not that bad, so yeah, they're alright. I also want to add that driving this car for the past year and a half, I've gotten a lot of compliments, thumbs up, and head nods from random dudes on the road. I don't know if it was for me or the car, but I'm gonna assume it's for the car. So design to me is a wow factor in a lot of situations, but like I said, as you see more of them on the road, that wow factor will decrease for sure. This car comes with a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that is turbocharged and produces around 241 horsepower. Now, is that good enough for the average Joe Schmo? Absolutely. It's quick, zippy, and fast, and I don't think you need any more power. But if you do, by all means, you can modify the heck out of these cars as long as you have the money to throw at them. But nonetheless, they are very, very fun to drive. Now let me talk about the engine cover real quick, and hear me out. My car did not come with one, but I know that some came with them. And there have been some recalls because the engine cover would come loose and move backwards a little, covering the turbocharger, and because of the heat, they would melt and cause a fire hazard. So if you have an engine cover in your engine bay, just remove your turbo. I'm just kidding, don't do that. You can remove that cover and throw the fuck away. Now let's talk about the interior. Talking about the space in the back, I'm 6'1" and I put the driver's seat, wait, it's my car. The driver's seat is where I usually drive. And this is the room that I'm getting in the back. And I've had friends sit in the back for an hour or so and they didn't complain. And it's most likely because they're polite. Anyhow, I wouldn't sit here for long, but if I do have air vents in the back, 2 USB-C charging ports, storage behind the passenger seat, storage in the door for water bottles or whatever, and an armrest with 2 cup holders. So I got nothing to complain about back here except for this. Now sitting in the front, hold on, this is not the location. This is a better location now. Sitting in the front is indeed a different conversation since this is where you sit the most. And I have to tell you that it is very comfortable here. And I'm not talking about space because I take a lot of space when I'm sitting in the front, but I'm talking about the design and ergonomics of everything. From this extended central storage armrest or whatever you want to call it, to the position of the shifter, the position of the armrest on the door, and to the ergonomics of the seats. This car has been a big step from my previous 2016 Jetta. The steering steering wheel design is so smooth, visually pleasing, and it feels so good, especially that it's leather wrapped. And I know you guys hate these buttons, but I'll talk about them in the next section because I might be able to change your mind. Now, I love hopping into the car, start the engine, put it in first gear, and start driving. And I really appreciate the wireless connection to my phone. So I have wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. I use an Android phone and it works flawlessly with my phone. Everything else here is perfect the way I want it to be. The screens are tilted slightly to the driver, so it feels like a driver's car. Of course, speaking of the screen and the functionality of the infotainment system, this is gonna be a tough one. But I'll be honest, I don't use these buttons as much, so they're not a deal breaker for me. See, the steering wheel buttons work perfectly fine. Also, my car is equipped with a travel assist, and it's one of my favorite features literally in any car. I don't think I'll ever get a car without travel assist in the future. So basically press on set when you're going, let's say 55 miles an hour or whatever, and it locks to just cruise control. And then once you press on this button, the bottom right button, this will turn on the travel assist, and it will basically detect the lane lines in front of you and keep you in the middle of the lane. So you'll see the steering wheel moving automatically for you. I actually want to make another video on how to use the travel assist because I think it's literally the most convenient feature in any car. Now, I want to talk about this here, the infotainment system, and these buttons right here. I'm gonna start with the first thing that bothered me when I first got this car, is that these two buttons, the cold and hot, the temperature control buttons, don't light up at night. I fucking hate this. But over time, I'm driving like this, I want to change the temperature. I see it's 73 from here. It just became muscle memory over time. And another thing here that a lot of people don't know about is if you want to adjust the heated seats very easily, instead of tapping on the heat seats and then tapping this again, just tap on the cold and hot air buttons at the same time. So this, and that turned off the heated seat. And if I do it again, it's now on the highest level. If I do it again, it's the level 2. And then level 1. Actually, it's working perfectly right now. I just jinxed it. I would say it works 90% of the time. And then for the volume, this is a much faster volume to control. And then if you want to mute right away, all you have to just tap this power button, and this should pause or play the music. And then when you're here, if you press on modes down here, you'll be able to select different drive modes. So there's eco, comfort, and sport. So eco will maximize efficiency, and it's the one that I use the most, especially when I'm driving to work all the time. Usually I get around 32 to 37 miles per gallon. In the summer, or when it's like 60 to 75 degrees outside, I can get 40 to 45 miles per gallon, and I really like that about the car. And then you go to sport mode, and then you drive a little more aggressively, and you get like 20 miles per gallon or 25 miles per gallon. So yeah, eco will maximize efficiency. Comfort is very similar to eco, I think, except for the climate control stuff. So it's not really gonna limit the climate controls. If you're trying to maximize the AC or hot air, you just press it on comfort. And then sport mode will open up the exhaust valves, and it will pump up more engine noise into the cabin through the speakers, and it will make the steering a little more firm. Now, I want to talk about the interior ambient lighting. I think it's very, very cool. It's adaptive to the drive mode that you select. So if you're in sport mode or comfort mode, the lights will be red, and if you're in eco mode, the lights will be blue. And there's also a custom option where you can change the colors to whatever you want. Let's drive the car. So I have heated steering wheel and heated seats, and they turn on automatically if the car detects that it's under certain degrees, 50 degrees or whatever. I'm not sure. I didn't read the manual of the car. Right now I'm driving in eco mode. I don't know if you can hear engine noise, but it's pretty comfortable, you know, and if I turned it into sport mode, it's gonna be louder. Now I like the ambient lights on automatic. The exhaust pops, I would say, if you like drive and let go between 3,000 and 4,000 RPMs. Right now, because the car was running most of the time, I'm doing 11.2 miles per gallon. It's terrible. Oh. Sounds so good. There is a lumbar support I don't think it works. It's trash. On my previous Jetta, it was the same, but other than the lumbar support, the seats feel very comfortable and they kind of hug you in place. All right, trying to save gas here. I'm gonna put it in eco mode. We're saving gas. We're at 12.6 miles per gallon. So if you have your eyes on this car, go for it. Just don't pay over sticker for it if you're getting brand new. You get over all the things that people don't like about this car. So hear me out. The one thing that I hate the most about the logo, and I mentioned that earlier in the video, I love the design of everything in the rear end of the car. So if you're parking somewhere and you leave the car on, there is no way to open the trunk. And let me demonstrate that for you. Car is running right now and I literally just parked. Let's say I'm trying to put something in the trunk. The camera is out. So the camera is out, but I can't open it. Like I try and there's no button in the front. Going back inside and closing the camera, and right now if I go back it'll be normal. So now I can open the trunk. You know what I mean? So you would have to remember to press that X button right here to open the trunk. It's annoying. So whenever you park and you want to leave the car running and you want to put stuff in the trunk because you're on the go or whatever, make sure to hit that X. This is the only issue that I hate about that logo design with everything in it, is that when the camera is out, you can't open the trunk. No way, Jose. Now that's it for today's video. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. It helps me tremendously. Let me know if you've learned something new today, or if you have ideas for future videos about this car or other cars, as well as subscribe to the channel. Subscribe, hit that bell button, helps me a lot. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.